now by California Senator Alex Padilla, member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Thank you so much for being here, Senator Padilla. Let's talk about this. The reaction that you have gotten on the Senate Judiciary Committee from people like Harlan Crow and Leonard Leo has been dismissive, to say the least. Leonard Leo has said the following: "I would not bow to the vile and disgusting liberal McCarthyism that seeks to destroy the Supreme Court simply because it follows the Constitution rather than political agenda." What do you expect the reaction to be to these subpoenas?
Well, this is not the first step. It's not the last step in our investigative efforts. Joy, first of all, let me say happy Halloween. What the Senate Judiciary Committee is on the verge of doing, I believe, is certainly not a trick, and it's certainly not a treat. Issuing subpoenas by the committee has only been done a handful of times over the years. So it is a very, very significant step. And it wouldn't be necessary if we had individuals willing to cooperate with the committee. You know, for the folks who want to criticize or critique the Senate Judiciary Committee for wanting to impose an enforceable code of ethics on Supreme Court justices, it's not that we're not trying to do it the other way. The Supreme Court has had opportunities to do it for themselves. They refuse. We've begun investigation, trying to gather information. Thank God for the ProPublica and other investigative reporting that has led us to this point, but we know there's a lot more there, and that's why we give Harlan Crow, the others, an opportunity to come forward with the information that we're seeking. And if they refuse to cooperate, first of all, what do they have to hide? A whole lot, and that's why these subpoenas seem to be necessary.
And you started to say if they refuse to cooperate, because we have seen people like even Jim Jordan, who almost became Speaker of the House per his caucus, defy subpoenas. People like Steve Bannon, others in the Trump world have seemed to confer upon themselves the power to avoid and ignore subpoenas from Democratic-led committees. What happens if they fail to comply? Will there be contempt of Congress requests made?
Exactly. If they refuse to comply to subpoenas, then it's, we continue to escalate as well. But I wanted to emphasize that point because anybody who accuses us for shooting from the hip has it all wrong. We've given them ample opportunity to supply the information that we're looking for, to participate with the committee, and they simply refuse to do so. Joe, you've covered a whole lot of legal issues over the years. When somebody has nothing to hide, they are more than happy to cooperate with the authorities, right, in the interest of finding justice. But when you refuse to cooperate, when you do nothing but obstruct, it begs the question, why? Thank good, all the investigative reporters have brought to light the information that they have, but we know there's so much more there. We need that information to better enforce the law and to impose the necessary enforceable code of ethics on the Supreme Court that they refuse to adopt for themselves.
Is there any thought of subpoenaing Ginny Thomas?
Well, as any good investigation, you go where the information takes you. And we already know there's information on the money that has come to Ginny Thomas's quote-unquote nonprofit organization, the role and activity she had around the January 6th insurrection. She's obviously married to an associate justice of the Supreme Court. So there's a lot of there, and that's why this is not the first step nor the last step in an investigation.
Let's talk about some of the cases that are coming before the court. Should the Consumer Financial Bureau exist, the CFPB? Can public officials block critics on social media evaluating the 2018 First Step Act? The one that kind of stands out to me is the question of a wealth tax, whether or not the Chevron deference doctrine exists, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, about gerrymandering, whether or not, one can legally gerrymander based on politics, if not race. The wealth tax one stands out to me because it seems like the people that you're testifying, that it impacts them directly. Do you, sir, believe, and have your investigations revealed, that part of the Supreme Court is for sale, that they are exchanging votes and rulings for largesse?
Well, that's at the core of our activity here, the crisis of confidence. There is not the public confidence in the Supreme Court of the United States that the people deserve. How can the highest court in the land, the most powerful justices in America, not have a code of ethics that they have to comply with? And we know that Leonard Leo is, as my colleague has put it, the spider in the middle of a dark web of money influencing the Supreme Court. Money in politics, that's an important debate. Money in the court system? Really? But that's what we have here when billionaires are entertaining Supreme Court justices on their private planes, at these expensive resorts, on these exotic fishing expeditions, when they have so much at stake with the questions before the Supreme Court when it comes to taxation, when it comes to their livelihood. There's a clear conflict of interest that needs to be spelled out for Supreme Court justices, rules for when they need to recuse themselves, and explain to the public why they need to refuse themselves, and so much more. So, again, this is not a trick. This is not a treat. This is serious.
We appreciate the Halloween reference. Happy Halloween to you too, sir. Senator Alex Padilla, thank you.